Why did you not tell us that you had received $5,200 from the same insurance company? Why did you omit that fact?
That was not
Was
my
that
intention.
intentional on your part?
Absolutely not, Your
It was
Honor.
just an accident.
Okay, absolutely. I don't know how all this stuff always works.
I understand. Now, Mr. Margarete, you say that the plaintiff failed to make payments to you on time.
He made 3 payments.
Three
that's all.
payments.
Yeah.
How
3
much
payments.
did he owe you when you tried to?
$500 plus the first monthly payment every single month, as we agreed.
So total?
$918.
And did you have an employment record from him before you gave him the
I couldn't get
finance
anything. I
the
couldn't even get the deal financed.
Why did you do this deal with him if he didn't give you the information you needed
Because
to
he
follow
promised
up
me he's
on
going to
it?
bring it. Your Honor, I swear, look at my eyes. If you notice, not one time he looked in you guys' eyes. Everything I'm telling is the honest-to-God truth. And I feel bad for him. And you can ask him, is the honest... And you mean to tell me, you're telling them that you were not high that day when you were in my office? Look at my eyes. You were not high, you were not smoking weed? Brother, how can you lie like that? I'm a man. I'm going to look in your eyes and I tell you, I even told them, Your Honor, if you're not happy, bring the car back and I give you whatever you want. I'll give it back to you.
Yes.
Sir, you wrote it. I wrote it
Yes,
down.
I saw that.
You're not happy? No problem. Bring it. I'll give you a refund.
Well, listen, the law in California is clear that a car dealer cannot sell a car for more than the advertised price. So we should essentially be holding the defendant to the advertised price of $9,995, but the car was totaled. So now we have to assess, well, how was the plaintiff damaged? And we heard the plaintiff admit that he received a payout from his insurance company of over $5,000. And from the defendant's testimony, which I believe, he had only received $918 in payments for the car. If you factor that amount plus the down payment that the plaintiff made, which was $2,000, he still wins because he gets more money than he actually put into the car. So please, give me your thoughts.
Well, frankly, the plaintiff got a windfall. And if you look at and read carefully his complaint, it's just a relentless misdirection of what was going on here. And the omission to tell us that he got $5,200 from the insurance company, to me, it goes directly to the plaintiff's efforts to take advantage of a mistake. And the idea that he would walk out without reading the contract or knowing
maybe he was high.
what was in it just doesn't make sense to me.
My concern is the law for the overcharge in base price of the vehicle. My understanding of the law...
He said he made a mistake.
Yeah, but it has to be an egregious unilateral mistake, right? So if you advertise a car for $1,000, that's clearly a $10,000 car because you obviously dropped a zero. That's the example in the Supreme Court case that deals with this. That's different than a car that may be $2,000 lower than it should be priced. I don't see this as falling under the exception. This seems like a statutory obligation in California that he is entitled to the difference in price of the vehicle.
Your interpretation is if I'm a dealer and I make a mistake, innocent as it may be, I'm stuck with that mistake?
I don't agree that that's a fair statute. And my concern is, as distasteful as we find this plaintiff, I feel bound by a very strict statute that says there is a clear remedy when this happens. It's to enforce the contract and have it specifically performed at the advertised price, which would entitle him to the $500 back.
I cannot agree with I do feel that this was an honest mistake. It wasn't a bait and switch. This guy's in business. He sells these cars left and right.
I don't believe it was a bait and switch, which is why I
Well, that's what the
questioned
law
him.
is designed to prevent.
I agree.
If the two of you agree, I dissent.
I would be very happy giving him nothing. I invite you to join Michael.
Well, sometimes the arc of justice, has to bend a little bit to do what is right. To take from this defendant and give $500 to him in the context of this case is, in my view, an additional slap in the face to a guy who wanted to look in my eyes.
Hold on. Was he obligated under the purchase agreement to provide proof of employment?
Yes, he had all these things, and he misled.
The plaintiff actually breached the purchase agreement.
There you go.
The plaintiff did not provide the defendant with the documentation and everything that was required under the purchase agreement. And therefore, he is not entitled to specific performance of the agreement.
Good. Under any of those circumstances, as long as we're coming to a conclusion that the ultimate end here is the plaintiff's complaint is dismissed. I'm on board.
So we're now all in agreement.
All unanimous, right? It's dismissed.